trying to change, but Jake and Zach were making it impossible. They refused to get jobs or do any chores. They were constantly fighting with our parents and each other. Mia said she couldn't take it anymore. She asked if she could come stay with me for a while. Of course, I said yes. She moved in the next day with just a suitcase of clothes. At first, we thought it would be temporary, but as weeks passed, it became clear Mia didn't want to go back. We talked about it and decided to make it permanent. We adjusted our budget and made space for her things. It was tight, but we made it work. Our parents were upset when Mia told them she was staying with me. They begged her to come home, saying they needed her help with Jake and Zach. But Mia stood her ground. She told them she needed to put herself first for once. Meanwhile, things at our parents' new condo got worse. Jake and Zach refused to look for their own places. They treated the condo like a hotel, making messes and expecting our parents to clean up after them. They stayed out late partying and slept all day. Our parents tried to set rules, but Jake and Zach just ignored them. When our parents threatened to kick them out, the boys reminded them that they had nowhere else to go. They accused our parents of favoring Mia and me by paying off our loans. Mia and I felt guilty, but we knew going back wouldn't solve anything. We encouraged our parents to stand firm with Jake and Zach. We thought tough love might finally make our brothers grow up. But then, about 2 weeks ago, everything exploded. Our mom called me crying. She said Jake and Zach had gone behind their backs and talked to a lawyer. They were trying to contest our parents' will. Apparently, Jake and Zach argued that since Mia and I had abandoned the family, we shouldn't get any inheritance. They wanted our parents to sign over everything to them. They even wanted our parents to take out a second mortgage on the condo to give them money now. I was furious. How could they be so selfish? But I was also worried. Our parents weren't young, and Jake and Zach could be very manipulative. I was afraid they might wear our parents down. Mia and I tried to talk to our brothers, but they wouldn't listen. They said we'd made our choice when we left, and now they were looking out for themselves. They accused us of turning our parents against them. We thought that was the end of it. We figured our parents would shut down Jake and Zach's ridiculous demands. But we were wrong. 3 days ago, our dad called. He sounded defeated. He said Jake and Zach had given them an ultimatum. Either sign over everything to them, or they'd contest the will and drag everyone through a long legal battle. Our parents caved. They signed papers giving Jake and Zach control of all their assets. They thought this would finally make peace in the family. But it didn't. The very next day, Jake and Zach told our parents to move out of the condo. They said they were selling it and wanted our parents gone by the end of the week. Our parents were shocked. They couldn't believe Jake and Zach would turn on them like this. They begged the boys to reconsider, but Jake and Zach wouldn't budge. They said our parents should have thought about their future before paying off mine and Mia's loans. Now our parents were facing homelessness. They called me in tears asking if they could stay with Mia and me. They said they had nowhere else to go. I was torn. On one hand, these were our parents. They had raised us and recently at least had tried to make amends for past mistakes. I felt bad for them. But on the other hand, I was angry. This whole mess was partly their fault. They had enabled Jake and Zach's bad behavior for years. Even now they had given in to Jake and Zach's demands instead of standing up to them. Part of me felt they were facing the consequences of their own actions. Plus, our apartment was already crowded with Mia and me. We didn't really have space for 2 more people, and I worried that if our parents moved in, we'd fall back into old patterns. I had worked hard to establish my independence, and I didn't want to risk losing that. After talking it over with Mia, I made a hard decision. I told our parents they couldn't stay with us. I explained that our apartment was too small, and that I thought it would be unhealthy for all of us to live together again. Instead, I suggested they go back and stand up to Jake and Zach. I said they should talk to a lawyer of their own and fight to keep their condo. I offered to help them find legal aid if they couldn't afford a lawyer. My parents were hurt and angry. My mom cried and said she couldn't believe I would turn them away. My dad said he was disappointed in me and that this proved I didn't really care about family. I stood firm, but it was hard. I felt guilty and sad. I wondered if I was being too harsh. But I also felt it was necessary to maintain the boundaries I had worked so hard to establish. Mia supported my decision, but I could tell she felt torn too. She suggested we could help our parents find a small apartment to rent, or maybe a room in a shared house. We agreed to look into options for them. That was 2 days ago. Since then, our phones have been blowing up with messages from family and friends. Some people support us, saying our parents need to solve their own problems. Others think we're being cruel and selfish. Jake and Zach are gloating. They've been posting on social media about how they're now in charge of the family assets. They're acting like they've won some sort of victory. Our parents are still at the condo, but Jake and Zach are threatening to call the police if they don't leave soon. Our parents keep calling and texting, begging us to reconsider. They say they'll do anything if we let them stay with us. I'm standing by my decision, but I'm really struggling. I can't help but wonder if I'm doing the right thing. Am I being too harsh? Should I have let them stay, despite my reservations? Am I just repeating the cycle of family members taking advantage of each other? I'm also worried about the future. What if Jake and Zach burn through all the money and our parents end up with nothing